Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's One Piece Treasure Cruise video, we are going to prepare for the upcoming 9.5 anniversary treasure map versus Blueno, Sunny-Kun and Bepo. Also, I'm kind of under the weather in case you're wondering and I sound weird, so that is the reason. But without further ado, it's time to prepare for every single mini-boss. We are going to of course begin with the first one, which is Strength, Blueno Bepo and Sunny-Kun. It's their super evolution essentially, and we are going to use the new Zephyr super evolution as double captain. You do not actually need him at any specific level limit break level, so do not even worry about that, just the base super evolution will work. And I am also using Treasure Map Legend Hina here, who is not necessary to use, just to unlock Zephyr's superclass ability, but Hina provides nothing for the team, she is not even boosted by Zephyr, so you can replace her with whichever unit you like. For the rest of the units now, first of all we want a bind remover placed in the middle row, so they can evade the bind of the bottom row units and then, of course, release them from it with their special. But we also first need someone in the middle row as well next to them to resist special rewind and then provide special cooldown reduction on the rest of the units so they can regain their specials and the bind remover can be activated. This specific combo in my team is Sunny-Kun for the special cooldown reduction and Blackbeard for the bind removal. Outside of that, Zephyr's attack boost can actually survive through the enemy intimidation. And we also want a unit to either have the limit break ability to resist hunger for 2 turns, or a unit that can provide RCV slots on the crew, so we can consume 2 of them and remove hunger that way. Either or, Bone Clay can do both of them, so I am going to use Bone Clay. You can use whichever unit fits that criteria, in case you do not have him. You can for example replace both him and Hina with a unit or 2 units actually that have the potential limit break ability to remove hunger, so you don't need to upgrade any specific unit and waste tablets. Some things to also have in mind: Sunny-Kun can also manipulate block slots, Bone Clay can do that as well, and the bind after maximum sockets will be 6 turns, so make certain if you replace Blackbeard with a bind remover, the removal can at least be 6 turns or more, or 5 turns combined with some sort of bind removing support. That will also do the trick. Zephyr is also a shooter specific captain, meaning he doesn't boost anyone on the crew apart from himself as double captain, and Bone Clay, who of course we are going to transition into a Q shooter unit so he can get the boosting. My specific team multiplier is around 4.70 times. The next mini-boss will be Int and will specifically be Katakuri and Oven. We are going to use the new Pirate King Adventures free-to-play unit as double captain, Blueno, Sunny-Kun and Bepo, because from their captain ability, even without the super evolution, they can resist 1 turn of special rewind, so with double captain 2 turns in total, which will of course allow us to not get special rewinded in the final stage of this quest. With their triple special activation, we can also completely remove attack down and sip bind, which is awesome, and then we essentially want to surround them with units that can remove paralysis and boost our damage. These units here, specifically the paralysis removal ones, are V1 Rayleigh support on the new Makino, Uta and Luffy from the Bleach battle, and then Whitebeard Markop with their super swap and special to remove the rest of the paralysis. That is of course if you do not have them maximum level limit break. I don't, so I'm using V1 Rayleigh support or another paralysis removing support, it will work. You just need 2 extra turns of removal, because without the level limit break special of Whitebeard Marco, they reduce 2 turns with their special, 3 turns with their super swap, which equals 5, and we need 7 turns of total removal, hence why V1 Rayleigh will help us completely remove it. Outside of that now, Whitebeard Marco also do provide damage, they can provide slot manipulation, the same goes with Uta, Makino and Luffy. And the rest of the units are Kizaru and Fujitora, only here for the multiplier, you can replace them with whatever you want. And then Nami and Sanji, the Treasure Map Festival unit, simply because they can provide an ore boost and they also have a pretty decent multiplier. You can replace both of these units with whatever you like, but for the dual units, if you do use them and you want their specials, make certain you enter on the Psy side, because the other side of the dual unit in these 3 specific ones doesn't get special cooldown reduction. That is of course highly important on Whitebeard Marco, so make certain you enter on Whitebeard. And of course, for the multiplier of this specific team, it is around 6.14 times. The next mini-boss is Q, Ben Beckman and Lucky Roux. We are going to use a double Halloween Legend Koala as captain. And this boss is a bit weird in the sense that it will stun our bottom row units and then will provide a special limiter for 2 specials and 1 turn, and then also gain essentially damage limiter on themselves for 80% of maximum damage for 1 turn as well. After that turn, because we obviously cannot take that boss immediately out, they will gain defense up. We don't really know by how many turns, but I do not think it will be over 6, so let's prepare for 6 turns, in my opinion the worst case scenario. The weird debuffs, the stun, the special limiter and the damage limiter, we can essentially evade by stalling the first turn. So that is exactly what we are going to do. The stun will be removed because the enemy will attack us, and the other 2 debuffs are 1 turn, so they will be gone. Then we have to deal with the 5 turns of paralysis, and Treasure Map Sabo is awesome to deal with that. He can also provide chain boundaries. The block slots, Sabo can do that, but only for adjacent units, so if you have another block slot manipulating unit like Treasure Map Shanks, it will do the trick. He is also Dex, so pretty good fit. And of course you want to deal with the defense up. For that I have 3 turns of removal from free-to-play Psy Frankie. You do not need his level limit break or anything. And 3 turns of removal once again from rare recruit Tanaka. So combined we have 6 turns of defense up removal, and that's the maximum you are going to need. I don't think it will be more than that. We of course also get the color affinity boosting from Halloween Koala, and since majority of our team units are Dex, we can easily take care of Beckman and Roux. And if the boss actually does not attack you turn 1 and the stun cannot be removed, make certain you replace the Shanks unit with a Sanji perhaps, so you can attach rare recruit Q pudding support and you can remove the stun immediately when you enter the final stage. We also have Koala's super type with this specific team, since all of the units are either fighter or free spirit. They are specifically all free spirit to be honest, but even if you don't get it, in case you make replacements, it doesn't matter. And if you do not have Halloween Koala, you can use Treasure Map Sabo as your captain. It will be fine, since everyone on the team is free spirit, he does boost all of them, and then you can replace Koala with any unit that can provide some sort of damage boosting you don't already get, so an attack boost, an aura boost, or a color affinity boost. If you do not have Tanaka, you can replace him with any other defense up remover you want, and the rest of the units are free to play, so pretty easy to have. With double Halloween Koala as captain, this specific team has a multiplier of around 3.87 times. The next mini-boss will be Kizaru and Fujitora. They will be int, and they provide some weird stuff here, and we need to pay attention on our team building because a lot of things can go wrong here. So I am going to use free-to-play 5+ Luffy as my captain, and he needs his captain ability to be upgraded with level limit break, so you need him level limit break 3 or over, so he can remove 3 turns of despair with his captain ability. That way, the 10 turns of despair on our captain will become 7. Then with 3 turns of removal from sockets, we will go to 4 turns, and then we are going to use 2 supports to remove the 4 turns of remaining despair in V1 Rayleigh and Pedro. If you do not have Pedro, Valentine Nami on our Frankie here works just as well. Then we have to deal with 9 turns of bind in our left column. So we want a bind remover in our right column, and I will be using Treasure Map, Baccarat, Tanaka and Dice here to remove bind. Just like in the first mini-boss, we have a combination of special rewind and bind, so before we use our bind remover, we want someone that can resist special rewind and help everyone else regain their specials. That unit here is Carrot Wanda. They can completely resist it and provide everyone on the team with their specials back because they have the correct classes. Now, what if you don't have Carrot Wanda? You need someone else to give you your specials back. Not an easy replacement to find, I will be honest. You can also try and use supports if possible. If you do have the combination of the last Treasure Map rare recruits, Zoro and Sanji, you can replace the right column units, not your captain, the crewmate ones. So the gold people and Carrot Wanda with Zoro and Sanji, the side Treasure Map rare recruits, so you can deal with both bind and special rewind, but not a lot of people will have that option available to them. Another thing you can do is stall one turn and then activate your specials in the next one, because the special rewind is 3 for captains, 3 turns, and 2 turns for crewmates. That after preemptive will most likely be 2 for captains and 1 for crewmates. So if you stall one turn, the crewmates will get their specials back, and then you activate a special cooldown reduction unit to get rid of the miniboss. But I don't know of any turn 1 mechanics, so that's not a safe option. If you do not have any other alternatives, you can obviously try it, but if the special rewind is indeed 3 turns and 2 turns for crewmates after the preemptive, then I don't really think Carrot Wanda is replaceable in this team. Except if you have someone that can completely deal with the damage reduction, the full 6 turns. Because I don't, so I need to invest 2 crewmate spots to remove damage reduction. I have rare recruit Karina to remove 4 turns, and this free-to-play Fortnite Frankie to remove the rest. If you have someone, like for example the Shanks crewmates Gabu and Snake to completely remove damage reduction, then you can use 2 units to deal with special cooldown reduction. So you use one on the right to give the bind remover their special back, then you use the other one on the left, and now that they are freed from the bind, they can be activated to give the captains their specials back. That is of course provided you only have one special to remove damage reduction. Of course, in case you don't have Karina or Frankie, you can replace them with other units that remove damage reduction. Karina though does more for the team. She actually provides a damage reduction shield to our own team, so we can survive the after defeat 50,000 damage hit from the enemy boss, and she also manipulates block slots into matching. If you replace her, you of course need someone else to provide us with some kind of damage reduction buff to survive the after defeat hit. For the slots you don't really care, because as our friend captain, we are going to use the new Film Red Strength Anniversary Luffy. He will manipulate all of our slots into TND, which we need to at least keep 2 slots, so we can break the barrier after the enemy revive, easy to do. We also need to make certain that our friend captain is limit broken and can remove the special limiter debuff that the enemy will provide, simply because we need to take out the miniboss as soon as we can. If we don't have that, we need to stall, and then we don't know what turn 1 mechanics there are, and there is a revive, so maybe we have to also consider turn 2 mechanics. So just make certain your friend captain is limit broken, we don't have the special limiter to deal with, and we can activate as many specials as we want. Thankfully, the special limiter is only for 1 turn, so the limit break ability of your friend captain doesn't really need to be leveled up. After the revive, we just break the barrier with 2 tandem slots and easily defeat the boss for good, and this team's point multiplier is around 4.66 times. For the main boss team, which is of course versus Shanks and he will be Dex, we are going to use the new Anniversary Legend Shanks as friend captain, so wherever you see special rewind, our friend captain will deal with it, which is awesome. Our own captain will be the card free-to-play Luffy one. For stage 2, the first thing you want to do is activate both the special and superclass of our friend captain Shanks. Now he gains access to his superclass because Luffy is here and also Monster is here. So if you don't have Monster here in the bottom right, either use another Shanks crewmate that can allow him to gain access to his superclass, the special doesn't really matter, or use a Nuda character that will allow him to gain his superclass, which we need to guarantee matching slots for the remainder of the quest on all of our units. Free to play Q Uta is the most accessible option I can give you, and she can also provide chain boosting, just like Bong and Monster can. By the way, that is the only use for Bong and Monster, and also their multiplier, they are not useful in any other way. After Shanks in stage 2, you want to activate Jinbe to remove paralysis and Luffy to remove damage reduction. Also something to know, we are planning to reuse Shanks' special in the final stage to reduce defense up. So it is important to have the correct classes, Free Spirit or Cerebral, in the crewmate positions so he can regain his special. Komurasaki's double special activation will also play a big role. Great unit to have in this team. After we defeat stage 2, we will get 3 turns of attack down. It's fine because Komurasaki can remove that. So even though Bonk and Monster can, you don't need them for that. They are only here, again, for Shanks' superclass access. Make certain you have Colosseum Komurasaki in the middle row, and you also have support White Bay or another bind removing support on her or another unit like Luffy to completely remove bind in stage number 3. You want Komurasaki's double special activation that will also reduce Shanks' special by 6 turns and will of course reduce bind alongside sockets, and the support will completely remove it. Komurasaki can also deal with attack down. Then you want to have a unit that either provides chain boundaries or a chain lock for 2 turns or more to deal with the chain debuff. Here I am using Treasure Map Legend Crocodile, who can also reduce Shanks' special. And finally, of course, we are going to use Shanks' special again, which he regains of course because of the Luffy activation, the double Komurasaki one, the Crocodile and the Bong and Monster one. So he now reduces defense completely, he increases our damage as well, and he makes the main boss pretty easy to deal with. For my specific team, the multiplier will be around 4.68 times. For the Intrusion Battle, we once again are going to use a friend captain Anniversary Shanks. I believe he's actually better for the main bosses of this treasure map than the new Kobe is, so if you find a new Kobe as friend captain, just use him in another place to increase your multiplier, but my teams will be using Shanks. Wherever you see special rewind here, Shanks' captain ability deals with it, which is awesome. Also, I know the boss is Dex, but we are going to use a full side team, it can still do the job, and we can transition Bon Clay into a strength unit in the final stage. In stage 2 though, we want to activate Shanks' special and superclass. His superclass will manipulate all of the block slots into RCV and TNT, and will of course allow us to penetrate and break the barrier in order to beat the stage 2 miniboss. So it is important to gain access to his superclass ability. We do that here because we are using Luffy, Makino and Uta, and also Bonk with Monster. Bonk and Monster can also be activated in stage 2 for more damage if you want, and they can be replaced with whatever Shanks crewmate can allow him to gain access to his superclass alongside Uta, Makino and Luffy, the free-to-play Blitz Battle unit. After the defeat of the miniboss, all of our units will be special binded. We have different special bind for the captains, different for the crewmates, but whatever it might be, if you have the Blitz Battle free-to-play unit fully limit broken, activating their special will completely deal with the special bind on everyone. After that, we want to activate the new free-to-play Pirate King Adventures unit of Blueno, Sunny and Bepo 3 times. That will deal with attack down and will also allow Shanks to regain his special. Komurasaki can also help with that with her double special activation, and we need her here because she reduces threshold by 4 turns. The thing is, we have 7 turns, so we also need threshold removing supports. I will be using Treasure Map Rare Recruit Nekomamushi on Komurasaki, and then Treasure Map Rare Recruit Hyogoro, who was recently in the medal exchange, on Luffy, Uta and Makino. These supports, if maxed out in total, can remove 3 turns of threshold, the remaining ones after Komurasaki's double special activation. If you do not want to use that method, you need to find another combination of removing threshold completely, either with supports or just by replacing Komurasaki, Bon Clay, and even maybe Bonk and Monster if you do have some of the Shanks crewmates. And they of course have a special to remove threshold like Rockstar. You also want to activate Bon Clay of course before you attack to get the base attack boost and make him strength. If you want to activate his chain lock, you also can from the super type. Now, the thing here with this team is that we cannot remove slot bind. None of the units have the limit break ability to do so, so if you want to make some correct replacements that can help you to remove slot bind as well, make sure you do that. And in case you do not have Bono Clay, replace him with another strong captain that fits the team and helps your damage output, like for example, one of the new anniversary legends if they work, except Luffy of course, since we already have him in the crew. Any treasure map legend like treasure map legend Sanji, Jinbe, who also can remove threshold and you don't need the supports, maybe Bonnie, Namikarina, or anyone else, even Kid and Law. Whatever you like, but have in mind that you might have less damage than needed later on in navigation levels. I know I won't have a problem because of the slot bind because I am also in the Grand Line League, but if you are in the new World one, make certain you make proper changes if needed. You can also add damage boosting supports. Anyhow, the multiplier of my team will be around 5.89 times. And that is my preparation guide for the upcoming treasure map versus Blueno, Sunny-Kun and Bepo. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.